Hey everybody, welcome to the round 8 preview for the 2021 AFL season. It is Carlton and the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium on Sunday Arvo again, 3:20. Very exciting times, and unfortunately for us, we cannot get caught up in the Essendon game and the Essendon win as much as we want to. It's time to move on. I woke up this morning knowing I was going to be filming the video today, and I was a little disappointed because we haven't really been able to enjoy it. But in a way, I think it's very important because as excited as we all were, I think most of us, I never want to speak on behalf of anyone else, but I would hope that most of us understand that the Essendon win was just the job done, and that's a game that we expect to win. And this week is as well for me. And I don't want to. I mean, listen, it's the fourth side who I think are definitely going to be playing in finals in 2021 that we are playing against. Richmond, Brisbane, Port Adelaide, and now the Doggies. It's the fourth test. I know that we lost to Collingwood, but I don't think they're going to be playing finals based on what they look like at the moment, which is another story in itself. But it's sort of got to the point for me where, again, we're playing against a finals type team, one of these good teams, and it's one of those games where if we win, it is a scalp, so to speak. One of those games where we can actually say, okay, there's a team that we've beaten with some credibility. Now, I couldn't care less what the mainstream media think, but this is more to do with us, Carlton people. And I think the Doggies are a perfect side for us to, get a win against. I think for whatever reason, we've had success against them over the last few years. We've beaten them, and we've beaten them well over the last few years by 7-8 goals. And I actually remember. I'll tell the story. I haven't really told anyone this apart from I think the Blues Footy podcast boys. When we played them last year, we beat them very well. Obviously, it was a COVID affected season, and we couldn't go to games. And I remember beating them and thinking, "Oh my God, we've arrived!" And I'm not there to see it. And I just got emotional, and it was a very special night, and it was just. I don't know, it all spilled over, and so you fast forward 12 months, we're playing them again, and I'm excited for the challenge again. And I don't fear the Dogs. I understand they've got a great midfield. I understand all the big names and all of that, and I understand they've started the season very well. They even played well last week against Richmond until the Tigers had that premiership experience and took over the game and just won it. But I just don't fear the Dogs. I just don't. I think once it gets out of their midfield and once it goes forward, I think our defenders are good enough to stop their forwards. Now, I may be wrong, and that's okay, but I just don't go into this game fearing them, like what I've heard from Carlton supporters and non-Carlton supporters. I don't have this crazy thing where we can't beat them. I think they bring the best out of us. For me, looking at the blueprint to beating the Dogs, I mean, they're a handball-happy team. They love to move it around on foot and by hand throughout the midfield, and the formula seems really simple, and that's to put the pressure on. Now, that is something our midfield have probably not done for long enough in games. Put the pressure on the ball carrier. It's something that we had to handle against the Bombers last week, or on Sunday, I should say, and I think it's something we need to be bringing in against the Dogs. And there's a beauty in the mentality of this week, because I can't help but feel like the Dogs are going to come, out thinking that they're the favourite and they should win and whatnot. But I just think our players would go up in that game and they'd mentally be thinking that they can match it, if not beat those midfielders one-on-one. I think when you play against highly touted players, it brings the best out of you. And I would hope that, the gutsy performance that we put in against the Bombers has sparked something, and they get a bit of confidence about them, and they know how hard they can be and how emotional they can be. And apart from hunting them, the next step for me is our skills. Our skills have to improve, because it's something that has let us down at various stages this year. Pretty much every game, there's been a passage or a 10 or 15 minute minimum patch of gameplay where our skills have just completely let us down and our decision making has let us down. But for whatever reason, the Doggies make us look a lot better than what we seemingly are. And it could be a breakout game for us if we do get the job done. That's what I think is the situation. It would bring us back to even. We would be 4-4, and then we can use that and launch into the second half of the season. And it's crazy how it's all flown by. So my two key focuses for this week are hunt and ball use / decision making. The matchups and the one-on-ones and the Bont versus Cripps and the Sam Walsh versus Bailey Smith, I honestly couldn't care less. I really couldn't care less, because at the end of the day, I just want to win. If we win by a point, I don't care. I mean, that'll be very stressful, and you just know that that's how it's going to be if we win the game. I don't see us winning by 7-8 goals like what we've done over the last few years. I expect this to be a high-scoring game. It's under the roof. That's where the Dogs play their best football. And in a funny way, we have started to really play some good footy under the roof, which is something we haven't done for many, many years. So that's kind of where I'm thinking at the moment about this game, and I'm pumped because it's a real test, and you know that the fans are going to show up, all 25 of the Dog supporters and about 25 or 30,000 of the Carlton supporters. So I'm excited. Who the fuck do I think I am? So fucking arrogant. I love it. In terms of changes, now, at the time of filming this, I haven't seen an injury report. It's such a shame that Mitch McGovern has hurt his hamstring. You would assume that he's going to miss, and he's going to miss for an extended period of time. I don't know if Jack Silvani's ready. He seemed like he might have been ready for the Essendon game, but if he's now ready for this game, I think he should come in. I'm not sure what his conditioning is like, but I can assume that he has been running on his feet. So I'd be bringing Jack in for Mitch McGovern. I know everyone wants to see Tom De Koning and Nick Newman into the side. I just think we need to be careful. Tom De Koning has had a stress reaction in his back, which is related to the loads that he has been, running with and whatnot. So I am very cautious to bring him in. I understand we want to move on from Levi and look to the future of the club, but I just don't think we need to rush Tom back. So I wouldn't be bringing Tom back in. I wouldn't be bringing Nick Newman back in. He's missed a lot of football. I think we need to be a little bit more patient there. And I understand we don't like that word patience, but why risk the long term for a short term? That's how I see it. So I wouldn't be bringing either of those two in. Paddy Dow, he obviously got the poke in the eye at the time of filming this. I don't know what the damage or the extent of the damage is to that. Having said that, I would probably give him another crack at it. But I don't want Samo starting as the sub. I would be putting Samo starting in the game because, again, I think the mentality of playing Dow against the Bombers might have been something along the lines of, well, he's had success against the Bombers. So by the same token, I would be saying we know Samo has had great success against the Doggies. And, you go back a few years ago when Bolton was coaching, and I think he had 25 or 26 in the first half against the Dogs. So I'd be hoping we unleash him for sure. So at this stage, I would be swapping Dow and Petreski-Seaton, and Dow can maybe start as the sub. And I would be bringing out Mitch McGovern due to injury and bringing in Jack Silvani. And that's kind of all I'm looking at this stage. Setterfield has had a couple of games in the twos. He's looking okay. I wouldn't be too shocked or too disappointed if he played. Lockie O'Brien, I saw the first half of the reserves on the weekend, and he looked better. He just looked like he's improving. Is it enough to bring him into the side? I don't think so yet. I want to see him do what he's been doing for the last 2 weeks, for maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and then we can start looking at, well, is it Nunes' position? Is it Cottrell? That sort of mix. I don't want to bring him in for a Gibbons when Lockie O'Brien's not going to be playing a Michael Gibbons role. So I'm pumped for that. The other one is obviously Zach Williams, who was out with, I don't really know, general soreness. So I would assume he's going to come in. But as I said, I don't want to see Stocker dropped. I personally, and this is me being a little creative, I would love to see Zach Williams play on the halfback flank and Stocker get some more midfield minutes at centre bounce. That's personally what I would like to see. Maybe instead of rotating Zach Williams as a forward, rotate him as a defender with with Stocker and let Stocker have moments in the midfield and allow Samo to play up the ground and allow Samo to play midfield / forward as he was drafted. Because he's now got a defensive game. He's now learnt the defensive aspect of, the way to play the game. So that's my little creative idea for the week. Now, am I right? I'm not. I'm not a coach. I don't know the ins and outs of what's going on, but just from the eye test, that's just what I want to see. So that's how I see that. I do think with Harry, I think that's where we can really hurt the Dogs. I don't know if Keith is, an amazing one-on-one defender as what some of the other opponents that Harry has had are. So I think Harry's in for a big game. He loves playing under the roof, and we're gonna need the leaders. It's a big game for the leaders. It's a big it's a good team. It's a finals team. It's a quality outfit with plenty of A-graders around, and Cripps and Doherty have got to lead from the front, and we go from there. I think Mark Murphy, he had a stiff neck. Is that going to recover in time? I don't know. I'm mindful of bringing him in because what I loved about the way this team played last week, our team, is the physicality and the real, the tenacity that they all played with. And I don't know if Murph has that left in him, that desperation. You look at Soccer and Parks and, you look how hungry they are. Whereas I don't know if Murphy's as hungry defensively as what those young boys are. And I don't think we can compromise losing that physicality in this game or in any game for the rest of the year. And to be honest, for the future, we can't be compromising that. So we'll see how it plays out. I wouldn't be upset if Murph played. I love him, obviously, as you all know. But yeah, those are my general thoughts and musings early in the week for this game. But I do want to get your thoughts because I did actually miss the game on Friday when they played Richmond. I didn't see it. So if anybody watched the game, please share with me what you saw, where you think we can exploit them. And I think we should all definitely get down to Marvel Stadium, as much of us as we can. It's a 3:20 game on Sunday. There's no excuse why we can't pack out the stadium. It's going to be a cracking contest between the two sides, and I'm very excited. So with that, share your thoughts below. Very excited to play against a finals type team, and who knows if we can win this game. Who knows? Who knows what the conversation goes? I think we'll be back on track, and I think the Kool-Aid will come out. So let's leave it there. Speak to you in the comments, and go the Mighty Blues.